A non-traditional financial advisor. All right, what does that mean? And should you ever call yourself that? My name is Anton Anderson. We haven't met, CEO of Elite Resource Team. So non-traditional financial advisor is a term that I noticed started popping up in our training community. We've trained over 1,200 advisors now since 2014. And I kind of was intrigued by that term right away. So I latched onto it a bit. And I've noticed now that more and more advisors that are working with us are referring to themselves as a non-traditional financial advisor. So kind of what does that mean? What it is basically somebody that rather than working in their own individual silos as an advisor, I'm a wealth manager, I'm a asset manager, I do insurance, they work proactively and holistically as part of a team. And there's a lot less emphasis on the singular focus, right? So most traditional financial advisors might focus on personal planning or maybe business planning. But very few integrate personal planning, business planning, and advanced tax planning into a more holistic offer. So where did this come from? It was really the response of what many of the best clients want, especially the high net worth individuals, the small business owners. So the term non-traditional financial advisor is one that I'm really starting to warm up to. Most professionals, when you talk about a financial advisor, an insurance agent, a CPA, an attorney, a business banker, most professionals have a hard time even cooperating with one another, let alone collaborating. Collaborating is a whole different level. Cooperating is just kind of playing nicely in the sandbox, not throwing sand at each other. Collaborating means we're actually working synergistically, not just once a year to compare maybe our notes on what we did this year on behalf of a client, but we're actually working before the client even knows there's a problem or an opportunity. We have an open line of communication. We are collaborating with one another to make sure that essentially each of our own individual skills are adding to this client's overall financial, both personal and business landscape. And so what we like to train advisors, and why I thought it'd be interesting to just shoot this video, is to kind of introduce this concept of a proactive planning team. And that idea is that there's more moving pieces than any one professional, regardless of how good any one individual thinks they are. There's more moving pieces than any one professional is going to be able to master. And rather than doing that, and rather than trying to kind of fight with other, even advisors for business, why don't we just form proactive planning teams where the advisor and the accountant can come together as the core of that team. And then the two of them are backed by what we like to refer to as a virtual family office. And then all of a sudden, between our skill set and the experts in a virtual family office, you can address 95+% of the mass affluent and affluent client needs, right? So the virtual family office typically would specialize in tax planning. That's not just tax returns, but proactive tax mitigation, income, estate, short, long-term capital gains, etc. Risk mitigation, which would fall into things like the property and casualty, the life insurance, the captive insurance companies, true risk mitigation planning and strategies. Wealth management, of course, the investment accounts, the 529s, retirement accounts. You have legal services, so who's creating the entities, the trusts, the wills, the buy-sell agreements, and then the business advisory. So anytime you're working with a business owner, the business is their baby. For most of us, it's blood, sweat, tears, and many, many years that we've put into growing these things. We care about them. Who's helping us develop our leadership skills, our company culture, measuring our KPIs, understanding where we want to take this thing? Are we trying to sell it in the marketplace? Internal succession planning, maybe potentially take it public? What's the end game here for our business? So those are really the 5 areas that we like to introduce in terms of the virtual family office: tax planning, risk mitigation, wealth management, legal services, and business advisory. And so to the client, we like to explain that we take them through a proactive planning process, right? So we have a proactive planning team made up of an advisor and an accountant come together. They're backed by a virtual family office. We take our clients through a proactive planning process. It has nothing to do with selling. It has everything to do with understanding the client's needs, goals, current circumstance. And then at the end of this, we get to educate them and they get to make an informed decision on whether or not they move forward. That proactive planning is actually a big part of a good advisor's value proposition. So don't give that away. you should absolutely be charging for your proactive planning, and accountants should be as well. So if you're at the point where you're forming strategic partnerships, or you want to be, this is a really valuable service that's completely underestimated in the marketplace. I'm not just referring to using like eMoney or Money Guide Pro or Asset Map to do that type of work. That has some value, but that's a very small piece of the 5 bubbles that I just went through, right? That's really the wealth management, maybe a little bit of the risk mitigation, but not really good tax planning, legal services, business advisory services. So you've got a couple skill sets likely, but you need some additional experts to be able to truly do this type of proactive and holistic planning. And then whether or not the client implements the solution it's important, but it's no longer what your business and your family live off of. You live off of your unique value proposition that you're bringing to the marketplace, which is your intellectual property and your relationships, not selling a product, right? So once we explain to a client that we have a proactive planning process that we lead them through that actually educates them on their choices, their decisions, and ultimately they're the ones that get to make the decision on whether or not they move forward, it's very attractive. And then we can explain to them, if you look at that little bubble on the left-hand side, you see that's the client. You come to us. We're your proactive planning team. You can rely on us for any questions, concerns that you have. Plus, we will be reaching out to you, we suggest quarterly, leading you through a proactive process where we are essentially uncovering any potential planning opportunity or change. We have our own skill sets, and then anything that's outside of our area of expertise, we plug into the virtual family office. So that was the video I wanted to record to maybe give a little bit of insight on what this term non-traditional financial advisor means, how it fits in the marketplace. I think why there's a lot of clients that are gravitating to that type of client experience. And what I would suggest is, this works really well, by the way, when you are speaking to a mass affluent or affluent client. You can ask them, when was the last time your advisor, your CPA, your banker, your attorney all sat down either at the same physical table or virtually via Zoom to talk about you proactively? Like, it almost never happens. So I'd say the same thing to you as an advisor. Like, if you don't right now have strategic relationships with other experts that specialize in areas where either you don't offer it or you do, but it's not truly your area of expertise, you need to form those types of partnerships. Like, you can bring so much more value. With value comes fees, comes revenue, and comes enjoyment. You get to actually, I think, solve problems rather than just selling products. So that's it for this video. If you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up and let me know in the chat box if you have any questions or future requests for videos. Have a great day, my friends.